Power 93.7 WBLK. I'm Yasmin Young inside the 2 to 6 takeover with a very special guest, Elaina Monte. She is an attorney at law. Welcome.
How you doing, Yasmin? Nice to be here.
I am wonderful, and thank you for joining us because, of course, this is one thing, even with the pandemic, and, we're slowly starting to reopen, it doesn't stop. The law doesn't stop. The need for an attorney doesn't stop. Now, things may have changed as we go through the, coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But people still need the representation. So before we get into more of the weeds of it, let's say, what type of focus does your office have?
Sure. I focus my practice primarily on matrimonial and family law. So matrimonial being divorces, whether it's a first-time divorce or where you've been previously divorced before. You need to revisit issues with your divorce with someone violating an order, or you need to make modifications. That's what attorneys call a post-matrimonial proceeding. And then family court issues, which include, child custody, child support, orders of protection. Also, I deal with issues called Article 10 proceedings, which are abuse and neglect proceedings involving CPS. And I deal in a number of counties, primarily Erie and Niagara, but also all of the surrounding counties as well, Cattaraugus, Chautauqua, Genesee, Wyoming, and Monroe.
And why do you think it's important to have a lawyer represent you in a divorce or in a family law issue?
There are so many nuances in the law. The law is ever changing, and attorneys who focus on that area of practice, especially, and that's why I focus on matrimonial and family law, are kept up to date with new policies and new case law and new statutes and rules that govern matrimonial and family court practice. And a lot of cases will result in an agreement between parties or a court order by agreement. And what people need to understand is that it's normally, unfortunately, not the end all to a case. And you need to understand the specifics of court orders, what your rights and responsibilities are. So number one, when you can change them, that you're not violating them, and just to make sure that you're complying with the terms of the court. Because, of course, when you're dealing, especially with an issue having to do with children, whether it be, you're getting a divorce and you have child custody issues, or you're not married and the other parent of your child is present, you just need to make sure that you understand everything and your I's are dotted and T's are crossed.
And a lot of people, they're afraid of going to court. Do you always have to appear in front of a judge?
You don't always have to. A lot of times the attorneys, especially if both parties have attorneys, will work together to try and come up with an agreement. A lot of times with divorces in particular, that is what would be considered an uncontested divorce. It doesn't necessarily mean that parties have to do everything on their own. Both people can have an attorney representing them, and the attorneys can negotiate the terms of an agreement after some exchange of financial material or other information that then everybody can sign, and it could be submitted what attorneys call on papers. So then this way it could just be signed by a judge and finalized that way. You can do that with family court issues as well. 9 times out of 10, you end up having to go before a judge in family court, especially if it's a child custody matter, because the court will address the issue with appointing an attorney for the child just to sign off on any agreement of the parties. But, ultimately, it's always an objective to try and work towards an agreement as opposed to having a judge rule on a matter, whether it be before trial or after a trial, because, then you hold it in your hands. Your life and the outcome is your decision.
Now, I know things have changed due to the coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic. How has that process changed, and what advice do you give to people who are handling a divorce or a family law issue during the pandemic?
Sure. And following up to your last question regarding whether or not you think it would be, or the first question, it would be good to have an attorney represent you because things are changing now, at least for the foreseeable future. The court is making electronic filings of applications available and making it more where things are done virtually. And it's for the safety of the court staff, but particularly of the community, because both the Supreme Courts and the family courts have an awful lot of foot traffic. So to make sure that we're practicing proper social distancing and but still moving matters forward, the courts have now implemented more online and virtual appearances and filings. So it's a work in progress, and even the attorneys in the area are getting used to the new systems. So to have an attorney available for you who can now process petitions online and, move matters forward by way of, filing summonses if you're looking to get a divorce, that's always helpful. So at least for the foreseeable future, the courts are putting everybody's safety as a priority. So my advice would be to if you have a matter pending or looking to start a proceeding, to reach out to an attorney who specializes in what or focuses in what you're looking to accomplish, who can better navigate the court's electronic system to make sure that things are getting done the right way.
Absolutely. And if someone is looking to maybe have you represent them in a divorce or a family law issue, how can they reach out to you?
Sure. I'm kind of all linked up in all sorts of ways. You can call my office at area code 716-901-7778, and I offer a free initial consultation to review your case and discuss the merits and what potential costs you're looking at should you choose to proceed. You can also book through my website, which is montelawfirm.com. There's right-hand corner is a book consultation now button, or you can also reach out to me via Facebook. On my Facebook page is Elaina M. Monte, Attorney at Law. And we can do things virtually. I know in phase 2, per government's or the governor's orders, I'm looking to be able to meet with folks one-on-one and personally, again, in my office. But until that point, to maintain everybody's safety, I can do FaceTime or Skype or just a good old-fashioned phone call.
Listen, and we've got the details on our website as well, WBLK.com, just in case you missed any of that. Attorney Monte, thank you so much for sharing this information with us.
Thanks so much for having me, Yasmin. You stay safe.
You too.